Tonight we're just going to take a look at a couple of crypto markets. It's looking pretty bleak out there, if I'm brutally honest. Just taking a look from the higher time frame, we're starting with the monthly. We can see obviously market double topped. We had a neckline in here. As price came down, tested the neckline, we had a very shallow correction move before a strong impulsive move lower. Last month you can see that we broke the previous month's high and closed pretty much near the lows. So what does that tell me on the futures market? Well, we can see that we've come back up into the 2017 highs. So looking at the futures market, I think if we break previous month's low, you're going to see some maybe some very strong moves to the downside. On the flip side, if from the current position we can break the high of previous month, i.e. If we can get above what price is that in the, sorry, let me just take that off. If we can get above sort of 24, call it 25,000, if we can get above 25,000, we should potentially see the market push on towards 36 in and around this area. If we drop down to the daily, it's not looking pretty, and if we do look at the futures markets in terms of how the commercials are behaving, then unfortunately I suspect we're going to continue to see a period of selling pressure in the crypto space. Looking at the daily, things that stand out to me is the price action. We've got the impulsive move lower, we have a 4-day period of consolidation, we have another impulsive move, and we're having that period of consolidation, which you can see that this market tends to do before we have another leg lower. I would be looking at sort of around the 18,000 barrier at least for this market to come into. So if we can break and close anywhere through this zone here, I suspect we'll see 18,000. Drop down to the 4-hourly. It shows us an even clearer picture. I wouldn't be shorting it from where we are. I want to see a couple of criteria, and that criteria is I need to see the market break through these lows. Breaks through these lows, then I think we have a quick 1,000 points up for grabs. If price comes back up into the 2017 highs, we get let's say a failed break of these highs, so potential move higher, some kind of rejection here, that will be an opportunity for me to sell. Where I'll be looking to take money out of the table as we get back down to 19.5, even though I'm still looking for lower move down towards 18,000. Now, something else that we can see is that the futures market, if we look over here, so that's BTC1 exclamation mark, is at 19,935, and the spot price is slightly higher. That's also indicating potentially that we could see a short-term rally. So it means that realistically, when you're looking at the futures market and you're looking at spot price, in theory the futures price should be higher than the current spot price. If the spot price is higher, it's showing that there's demand to buy this market right now. I mean, it's not excessively higher, but it does show that if we have a premium being paid for the spot market, we could see price run up into this area. So although the futures market is highlighting we could see weakness, I'm going to look for, before I sell, market needs to break through this support level here, or I need to see some kind of rejection from around 20,700 to 21,000. That would be my two criteria. Longs, I'd be maybe a little bit hesitant on longs. I'd probably want to see price getting up through the 22s, see some kind of change in pattern, so maybe something like this, and then we can look at using this area. So we've had a potential higher low come in, we break the highs, and then we look for that next higher low. I'd also wait for Friday's announcement on the futures market, see if there's been any appetite from commercial traders looking to acquire Bitcoin. I'm going to move on to Ethereum and just take a look at this again from the higher point of view, higher time frames. And last but not least, we'll finish off with Atom. It's going to be a relatively short video this evening, and the reason for that is there's not a great deal really to look at, nothing to whet my appetite. Yes, I'm still looking for shorting opportunities, but the question is, the market has to present me with the setup. So when we look at this right now, we can see certain things we were looking for. One was price to come up into the trend line, or we wanted it to break out of the channel and start to move lower, which you can see we did that. Price broke out of the channel, and the corrective channel, oops, we broke out of the corrective channel, we printed a nice bearish weekly candle, followed that up with another weekly candle that has respected the high and broke the low of the previous week. So as right now we're seeing a bullish weekly candle being formed, but it's still live. So what I'd be looking at is any sort of clues to be getting short this market. And if we go down to the daily chart, you'll see we're getting kind of a very similar sort of bear flag pattern to the one that was formed before we had the last impulsive move lower. So if we just look at this little correction move here, we can do something similar here, and we're just going to wait for the market to roll over. And this is where patience comes in. Rather than just jumping on the first thing we see, let's just wait for the market to give us a clue. So we've found a little bit of a base here at sort of 15.25. So I think the way that I would look at this, if we're going to go short, is we've got this kind of scenario here. Price could do this and pull back up into the 1720s before dropping. But if it does that, I'm not bothered either way, because I'll be looking for shorts from here. If we get above there, I'll be looking for potential longs. So the criteria I'd be looking for would be price to potentially move, have another failed attempt at 1600. We break down through the trend line, and then I'd look for that first lower high, whether that's from 1525, and trade that lower. So it's just literally, we need to be very, very disciplined and wait for the setups to occur, rather than, even if we've got a bias of being short or long, wait for the criteria to be met before you go ahead and place those trades. One of the stronger markets out there at the minute in the crypto space is Atom. We've highlighted this price point where the market's reacted from a few times, which is around the $10 price. Now, this channel hasn't been broken. It is very corrective, the way it's moving, but you'll see how price has respected the $10 zone. When I just drop in this little marker now for you. So if we drop this in through this area here, you can see how price has respected it here, here, lots of consolidation through here, rejection here, again another break and retest, another rejection. So the market's come in, it's respected this channel here. We could push up into this area, but while we're still forming this channel, I'm actually waiting for it to break, because if we go to the higher time frame, one thing we can see is that if the market has dropped in the manner that it has, which is effectively from $44 right down to best part of $6, and this is the best kind of rally we're getting, I think based on price action, what we should see is another move lower, which could then create the final low in the market. So whether the market comes back down to test the lows here, or it pushes, we come back down, we create a higher low, whether it's around 8 or whether it's around 6 or even lower. I don't know, you know, all I can do is say, based on historical patterns and the type of price action we're seeing here, my bias is leading me to further market move lower. If I want to see the market move higher, then ultimately you're going to need to see a failed sell-off and the market push. This doesn't air of mass buying. It just, it's very, very corrective, very, very shallow, no real momentum to it. So the second this breaks, I think we'll see a pretty strong sell-off, and then we want to see that dead cat bounce, and that's the trade that we'll all be looking for. And we'll see the appetite come into Bitcoin and Ethereum before we see it come into the altcoins. So the way I'm seeing it is sit on the sidelines, wait for the market to break down, and when we see buyers come in aggressively, that's the time to be taking advantage. So on that note, guys, I hope you've really enjoyed the content. If you have, please hit like, share and subscribe. and we'll be putting out more videos, one tomorrow night, and then we'll see you next week. So have a great weekend if I don't see you tomorrow. Bye bye.